What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Post-Gazette Pirates YouTube channel. He's Andrew Destin. I am Noah Hiles. We're coming to you live from sunny Bradenton, Florida for the end of day 2 of Pirates Spring Training 2025. Andrew, as always, a lot going on. A little less eventful than day 1.
Thankfully.
Thankfully.
Yes.
I don't think I could have handled 2 of those days in a row to start.
Nor could the Pirates have.
Yeah, nor could the Pirates, right? But we still got a lot to talk about. I'll let you pick our first topic. Who are you thinking about?
Yeah, I think a good launching off point for us here is Johan Oviedo. This is a guy who last year missed all of 2024 with Tommy John surgery, had that in November of 2023. Threw his first live bullpen today. Noah, you were there to see it live. I think this is very noteworthy. Obviously, you would expect Oviedo to be this far along in his rehab from Tommy John surgery, but by all indications, looked like he was pretty good out there.
Yeah, he did. I mean, the thing that I noticed most about Oviedo is his size.
Yeah.
It looks like he put on a decent amount of muscle. He wasn't willing to share exactly how much bulk he added, but I mean, I think there's a difference in the physical appearance, and I think that's going to play a factor. And when you're coming back from an injury, any added strength, I think, is a bonus. Another big takeaway I had, which doesn't necessarily have to do a ton with the inside baseball information, but just a cool thing, was who was catching Oviedo's first bullpen coming back from Tommy John. It was Endy Rodriguez, a guy who's also coming back from Tommy John. Oviedo spoke briefly just about how they kind of went through that journey together and how that was extra special to him. And I mean, if you look at it, those are 2 guys the Pirates are going to need to be the players that they're capable of being, or at least they thought they were capable of being prior to surgery. If you get 2023 Oviedo back and you get Endy Rodriguez, the potential that existed for him prior to surgery, then this team's going to be a lot better than what some people think it can be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these are 2 guys who they are critical to this. If they can be healthy, if they can get through a full 162, that would be supremely noteworthy and beneficial to this club. And it's specifically Oviedo, who, when he was asked about, hey, do you view yourself as a starter, said absolutely. And that's noteworthy because, hey, it's pretty fair that it's going to be an open competition for that number 5 spot in the rotation. So keeping it solely on him, I think that Oviedo, he's got a lot of work to do. These next 6 weeks, as manager Darick Hall said, are going to be really important for building up his volume and seeing exactly how he responds to pitching in games, how he responds to sides, all those sorts of things. That was pretty noteworthy that he showed up looking fantastic today.
I guess I'll take us into bullet point number 2. I want to talk about Darick Hall a little bit. A guy who I didn't think would be a talking point in the second day of spring training, but when you look at the holes on this roster, I mean, first base just became the biggest hole because the guy they projected to be their everyday first baseman is going to be out of commission for 6 to 8 weeks. They need to find an answer, and while that answer might come internally, or externally, I should say, internal guys are going to get the first crack to prove that, hey, we can hold down the fort until Horwitz is here, or maybe even longer. So, I mean, Hall is a guy that I think could get a lot of looks there. Shelton even confirmed that, just because he can, if he plays to the best of his abilities, if he is the player that his tools indicate he is, he can give the Pirates something they need, which is power. I mean, this is a guy who's big. I mean, he's got big hands. He's like 6'4". He's got some size on him, and when big boys connect with the baseball, it can go far. We haven't seen that a ton from him in the major leagues, obviously, but I mean, this is a lottery ticket, and if the Pirates can hit on him, that's big. I spoke with him today. I'll have a story on him on post-gazette.com. Andrew got to sit by with me, and we watched him take some batting practice. What were your thoughts on the cuts he was taking today?
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy who, like you said, the ball jumps off his bat. I think something that was really noteworthy for me is when you see guys work on going to the opposite field, right? Anybody who's around the game, your 4 different rounds of batting practice, you're going to lay down a few bunts, and then you're going to try to work to go to the opposite field. Some players much more adept at that than others. I was impressed by Hall's ability to go to the opposite field and do so with power. That's something that really stood out to me. We have to see it translate to the game.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's nice to see him fielding ground balls and take some cuts in batting practice, but let's see how he looks.
Yeah.
In
he's at least earned a
spring
shot.
Training competition, and I think he's got some at-bats with his name on him against the first string of the teams they're scheduled to play in late February and early March. Yeah. Third key.
Got to go with Konnor Griffin.
Okay.
Somebody that you and I both watched live today, hitting batting practice, the first-round pick last year. I would say this, Noah, from reading about him, reporting on him back around draft time, there were a lot of concerns about the swing. I don't think it's a finished product. Manager Darick Hall indicated as much, but I would have to say that it looks like it's a better spot than it was last year at this time.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, the thing that stood out to me was the bat speed. I think the concern was always, you know, how he can get it through the zone, if he can get that club head there, if he can get the high barrel rate. But, I mean, physically, this kid is way beyond where most 19-year-olds find themselves. I mean, he is a specimen, and if you can connect that, you know, athletic ability, those physical traits to a smooth swing, you have the potential to have a very special player. Granted, it's a guy who's, what, 3-4 years away from the majors at the earliest, I would say.
Best case.
And you got a lot of things on and off the baseball field that are going to occur in his life that are going to have an impact on who he becomes as a baseball player. So his story is just starting to be written, but it was cool to get a first glance at him, and it's easy to see why the Pirates felt that this kid was worthy of a first-round pick, worth to take a gamble on at wherever he was selected. Was it 12th, I believe? Yeah, at number 12 overall, because the potential's there. It's just, can they coach him up and develop him into maximizing that potential?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the tools are there. It's a little bit of a herky-jerky swing right now, but you would expect that with a guy who made these kind of tweaks over the offseason. The key now is just how does this translate once you start getting into minor league action? We haven't seen Konnor Griffin yet make his minor league debut officially.
Right.
So there's so much to still learn about the kid. But as of right now, I'll say this much. He's a 5-tool talent, and he's passing the eye test.
So far, so good. 2 days down, a lot more to go. 5 weeks plus 5 days, I believe, is the exact count. He's Andrew Destin. I'm Noah Hiles. Be sure to follow all of our work on this channel. Subscribe, like if you haven't already, and also check out our work at post-gazette.com. That's all we got for today. We'll have more for you tomorrow on the Post-Gazette Pirates YouTube channel.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.